Hey guys, I'm back for another product spotlight, and today I've been playing with the Technique Junkies Pinecone background stamp. You can see that it is red rubber. It is gorgeous and I absolutely love it. And I have just been playing. I put it in my Misty and I used the individual ink pads to ink up the specific colors or the specific spots on the stamp. So I use these three shades of brown. My Pink Fresh Studio, I've got Warm Buff, Gathered Twigs, Espresso, and then these three shades of green. Fresh Pear, Grassy Knoll, and Evergreen. And I just did layer after layer, and this is what I ended up with. And then I covered the whole thing with Versamark and clear embossing powder. Now this embossing powder is old as the hills. It's probably 20-25 years old. You can see I have very little left. I need to probably get some more because I'm loving my clear embossing powder, but look at the detail in that. Isn't that gorgeous? On this one I also used these two markers. I don't even know where they're from. Oh, you know what? A friend of mine gave them to me. She used to get the sketch box, and these came out of the sketch box. So this is Art Alternatives. It's a deep brown. This is a Tombow water-based pen brush, and it's black. And I just put it on the stamp, colored right on the stamp. Right on the stamp. Just and that gave me these like darker spots. So that's that one. This one I did essentially the same thing, but I wanted that watercolory look, so I put the inks on. I actually covered the whole thing like an underpainting in the Warm Buff. Covered the whole thing in Warm Buff. I sprayed that with my water mister, and then I sprayed my paper, even though it's not watercolor paper, it is Bristol Smooth. So then I stamped the whole thing, and you can see some spots where the Warm Buff still kind of shows through. And then it gave me that real soft, loosey-goosey watercolor look. And then I went back in with the same kind of technique where I put the greens, the different shades of green, and then I sprayed it, stamp, spray, stamp. And if you want to see video on how I did these, just let me know and I'll create a video. But right now I just wanted to show you the product and the way I used it today. So again, I did the same thing, and then I did one final stamp, dry, no water this time, with the espresso, and one last stamp of the green, and then I heat embossed all of that with the clear again, so you can see the shine from the clear embossing. And it's really pretty, but it's got a much different look than that one. The colors are softer. They're the same colors, they're just a lot softer, partly because of that underpainting, if you will, with the Warm Buff, and then the loosey-goosey with the watercolor. Look at that effect. Isn't that gorgeous? You guys know I love me some watercolor, but then I also love the detail on that. They're just so very different. And then look at that one. That one is completely different as well. So I put my Versamark on the ink pad or onto the stamp. I had cleaned my stamp, but I put the Versamark on just with the Versamark, and then I stamped it down, and this right here in the middle is what came off of the ink pad or off of the stamp, even though I had already cleaned it. So I thought, you know what, I like that. So I just stamped the whole thing, used the clear embossing powder again, and then I ink blended around the edges with the espresso. Because the espresso, when it's left over, the residual it has kind of this reddy hue to it, and I thought that was really kind of fun. So I just went around the edges to kind of deepen up the edges and highlight the center. So there's that one. And then this one I did just white embossing powder, and then I just ink blended. I used the Fresh Pear to get those spots of green. And I used the Warm Buff and then the Gathered Twigs to kind of bring out some of that white on the darker edges, and the pine cones. I think it's really pretty. This one I heat embossed in white as well, and I sprayed with the Shimmering Bliss. You guys know how I love the Shimmering Bliss. I actually used the gold as well on the base. I don't know if you can, if that's picking it up in the light, you can see the gold underneath. And then I use the Worn Saddle to get those deeper browns. And I may even add some more to that. I like how this has settled in there. It's not quite dry yet, but I like how that has settled into some of those recesses that were created with the heat embossing. But again, heat embossed in white, the Alabaster White from Brutus Monroe. All three of these are heat embossed. No, That one's the clear, sorry. These two are the Brutus Monroe. But look at all completely different, right? And then these two, this one is on cream, this one is on white. I just heat embossed. I use the Versamark, and then I use the Wow Rose Gold. And they're not a whole lot of different, but again, cream and white. And then I took my Versamark and I went around the edges of this one, and then I poured the embossing powder over it to get this kind of frame. And I think they're gorgeous. I might do that to this one as well. I just love that. It kind of gives it a vintagey vibe. I think it's really pretty. But yeah, guys, those are my, what is that, 2, 4, 6, 7. And I've just been playing maybe about an hour with this one stamp, and I love it. I can't wait to make these into cards. I will probably just put a big sentiment across them and call it done, because I think they're stunning just the way they are. And again, it's the stamp. The stamp did all the work. Pinecones, Technique Junkies. I love it. Technique Junkies is having a big sale. There's a bunch of stuff 35, 45% off. You want to check them out. All right, guys, thanks. Alright guys, so now let's take a look at the individual cards that were created. It took me much longer to make the cards than it did to do the stamping. So these two are just kind of the brown and cream and green color scheme, as is this one. And that tree trim is actually from Target. I got it last year. And then this one, I have a little bit of pink paper in the background and some green, and just kind of emphasize some of the green, which you can't really see well in the picture. So this one I'm really happy with as well. The dies that cut out the sentiment are from Pink Fresh Studio, and I'm really happy with that. This one I've used the Sweet Burlap die from Honeybee, and it's super cute. And here I have just stuck with that kind of monochromatic color scheme. And I'm really happy with them, guys. Again, this is the Pinecones from Technique Junkies. They're having a big sale. You can also use my discount code. If you like this video, this type of thing, give me a thumbs up, and leave me a comment downstairs on which one was your favorite. And this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.